Howdy, y'all. Hey, I'm gonna do a response to BlitheringGenius's Ferguson video, which is about 30 minutes. I'll do that in another video, hit by hit. I agree with most of what he said. It was the fact that it was 30 minutes, and the fact that if I did a response video like I normally do, it would be like an hour. But then I was scrolling down to his comments, and I keep doing this. Like, good news, I got 3 out of my 4 notebooks back. And the one I wrote most in, I actually got a full one. But it's weird, some art, some emotional stuff, some thoughts, some parodies. But back to BlitheringGenius. So this is going to be a response to BlitheringGenius's comment thread. And no, well, it's going to be in order of top comments. And give me a break. It's about a week old today. And I'm doing some other stuff, waiting around to drop off some books to a girl. And there you go. Oh, by the way, say what you want about the minds of social justice warriors and hippie chicks, but they take such good care of themselves. They really do. You know, get back to a product I want to plug that most of y'all won't be able to enjoy. But okay. So first off, it's like 34 comments that just seem like crap. Yeah, hey, look, we've all. I'll get into that when I address BlitheringGenius's comment thread, but video. But the comment on his comment thread that made me want to respond is this, and I'll try to be quick about it. You know, let's see if I can keep this under 2 minutes. Alright, so AlienZen said, I heard a slightly different variation on this. In primitive societies, women were the primary selectors of sexual partners. In developed societies, men had more selection power, which is why the black race is more masculine and Asian race is more feminine, European somewhere in the middle. Okay, now a few things about this opening comment, and it goes on and on. Primitive societies. One that's a little weird to say. Less evolved is also weird to say. Let's just say other societies. All human, like Peter Tosh said, if you're a man, you're an African. We've only been out of Africa for about 80,000, 70,000 years. Now, true, significant evolutionary change can happen in 10 to 5,000 years. They're even finding significant change can happen, especially in like insect populations that have very short lifespans, in like a century or a few decades. So, what BlitheringGenius says and what others say is not entirely implausible. Right, but let's just say, in my opening thesis on this, is that I think the primary factor that everyone's mentioning or missing is the heat. The heat. And I say this because I'm a Texan, because I grew up in Houston. The heat. The thing that started the South being a economic strength again after the end of slavery was the invention of the air conditioning. Yeah. NAFTA. Yada, yada, yada. Heat. Heat is probably the variable that a lot of people are missing. That's affecting behavior in society. And why does civilization fall apart so quickly after Big Daddy government gets overthrown? Well, if you live in cold environments, well, it's not so bad. Hey, it takes a little while. It's like the growth of bacteria. The decay of civilization increases with heat. The growth of bacteria increases with heat. The colder it is, the slower civilization decays. Now, someone else did another study on this a few years ago, and they said that was wrong. Well, whatever. It's a fun idea. Now, women were the primary selectors, and now that's the traditional evolutionary theory. That females choose and males try to be selected. Females are the selectors, and males are the selectees. This explains birds and the male birds being more extravagant. And we'll get into that later. It also means that everything feminists complain about men is really women's fault. Yeah, I said it months ago. I could jigger everything to blame everything on women. I could do it. You're sleeping with these guys, right? You have choice, right? It's all your fault. Men are treating you badly. Guess what? You like it. There's a lot of truth to that. Ask a PUA. Developed societies. Men had more selection power. Men... okay, so... in Africa, despite what is said, despite how aggressive it is only that aggressive because they tend to be matriarchal. Even Nelson Mandela's wife cheated on him multiple times. And you could say, hey, he was in prison for a very long time. She had needs. Either way, she cheated on him both before and after the prison. And everyone knew about it. No one really gave a shit. Because matriarchy accepts polyandry. And feminism accepts polyandry. And they hate polygamy, except polyandry. Alright, which is why black race is more masculine and Asian race is more feminine. What happens is, and BlitheringGenius kind of addresses this, it doesn't take it. The reason why Asian races tend to be more feminine, they have a very strong civilization structure, very strong social structure, very strong top to bottom, big daddy government, uber alpha male structure. And so the government punishes aggressive behavior and locks them up or kills them, thus preventing them from breeding. I thought about this a long time ago. Now, what throws this off is that they threw in drug crimes. It kind of goes into BlitheringGenius's thing about being aggressive and productive. Men want to be aggressive to protect, protective and productive. You want to protect your women. You want to be productive for them, to provide for them and their children. So first, the government punished protective behavior, aggressive behavior, by isolating those men and preventing them from breeding. Which is why so many violent criminals have so many kids so early. They responded, a subconscious response. Then productive. The government punished drug users, people who stole property from others. There's personal crimes and property crimes. Those are the two traditional categories of crimes. Personal and property. And personal crimes, like violence. Property crimes are like stealing stuff. The government, hey, drug users, potheads. Yeah, it's very productive. Hey, put them in jail, prevent them from breeding. And then the odd thing I've noticed since I woke up, since I took the red pill about a year or two ago, in MGTOW, is child support. If you don't pay the government, essentially, because essentially that's the argument every person in the legal system I've known says, is that it's not about paying for the right to reproduce. It's not about not being a deadbeat dad. It's not about giving money to your baby mama, which is a term I despise. It's about repaying the government for all the crap it's given the woman, like in form of WIC, Social Security, what's it? Medicaid. I think Medicare's old people, Medicaid's poor people, primarily women, primarily children. And so really the reason why the government is so aggressively imprisons men for failure to pay child support, and then to do with the woman, and then to do with the child, is that they want to get paid. Since corporations are people. There you go. Uncle Sam's gotta get paid. Gotta get paid. And so that's where they're taking people out of the breeding population. And so this explains why androgyny is so rampant in Asian societies. Because for thousands of years, roughly 3,000, 4,000 years, Asian society, very strong social constraints. And really all you need is workers, equal, cheaper workers. And this also why socially, they went too far one way on the pendulum, so they wanted to go the other way. And it started strictly assigning dress roles, strictly assigning sex roles, crippling women. Hey, it's attractive to have tiny feet. And it's no big deal if your tiny feet are so deformed you can't leave the house. Because your only role is to make babies. And hey, you look exactly like the woman. And so it's good we crippled her, because now we can tell you apart, because you're working. You're moving around. I can see you. It means you're a man. And then that's just that one comment, and it goes on. And I'm trying to check my time here, and already over 2 minutes. Or 10 minutes, already. Yeah, I'm trying to do a quick thesis, a quick essay on this. To respond in the entirety would take 30 minutes. Which is why I didn't want to do a real response video. Right, okay, oh, right. There we go. So, BlitheringGenius asks a series of questions. AlienZen responds with something that is not true. Yes, both the male and female children, since women tend to be the primary selectors in, as AlienZen would say, primitive societies, both the men and women would result in being more masculine. It's just the independent assortment of alleles is what it's called. You got more masculine alleles, your women will be more masculine, behave more masculinely. You got more feminine alleles, your men will appear more feminine, behave more femininely. That's a word. And you try to go for a 50-50 split. The only thing that really screws this up is they've done studies, and white men, typically white men with beards, they're considered very attractive. They're very masculine. Right, the difference between the white man's attractiveness, the black man's attractiveness, the white man is considered more rugged. Really like a wilderness kind of guy, like a Neanderthal. Black man's considered more dangerous. Like it's dark, scary. I think a good example of this is the jaguar and the panther are really the same creature. The panther is just a melanized version of the jaguar. Dark, scary, light, pretty. The reason why black diamonds are actually more precious and rare than white diamonds, but because black diamonds aren't all shiny and pretty, women want clear diamonds, white diamonds. Ooh, pretty. Ooh, shiny. Distracting jiggle keys. And so, the reason why this is because hair, very bad for heat exhaustion. Hair, very bad. Hair, very good for keeping heat in. Hair, very bad for letting heat out. Black man, not really good at growing the hair. But testosterone, very good at causing hair to grow. The neurological and physiological effects of testosterone, like I mentioned the other day. Physiological effects, a lot of hair. A lot of hair. I won't get into how the model industry is screwing this all up. Female models have very masculine faces, but very feminine bodies. Thus, male models have to have very masculine faces, but hairless bodies. Women find attractive in men and women what they think men find attractive in women, thus resulting in men becoming more androgynous. Sort of the civilized point, as AlienZen is saying. Right, now what I really wanted to get to, and I guess this is only really one comment, I'm not going to go through the whole damn thing. I mean, there's a good point about sexual dimorphism. BlitheringGenius admits something, because being a reasonable human being. And then get into it. Ask some personal questions. They're doing nothing. And then the peacock tail. Now, this is interesting. Now, I'm actually, this is what spurred this. Sorry it took me so long. Sorry it took me like 15 minutes. Right. Okay. Now, the reason why feathers evolved to begin with. Right, remember, I'm not sure if I said this, I'm not sure if I made a video about it, I wrote an essay about it. Bones did not evolve to provide structure. Structure found itself after bones evolved. The reason why is calcium is very heavily used in the neurological system, in the physiological system. Calcium ions, very important for transport chains and so forth. Ion transport, gated transport. Anyway, the feather actually indicates parasite resistance. It's how feathers evolved on birds to begin with. Remember, birds used to be reptiles. What is it? Anacids, diacids, and therapsids. Anacids, turtles. Diapsids, reptiles. And therapsids, pretty much just diapsids, but are warm-blooded. Well, that's a skull. I'm talking about skulls. We won't get into that. Now, therapsids evolved into dinosaurs. Dinosaurs evolved into birds. Now, what happened? There was some environmental stuff happened back in paleo times. Made staying warm very important. Also, there's a lot of life. A lot of insect life. Life was more advantageous to insects back in the day than it was to vertebrates, especially outside of the water. So parasites a big problem. Parasites a big problem. A lot of birds, a lot of therapsids died in the nest. What the feather indicated was a genetic resistance to the negative effects of parasites. And two dudes thought of this a long time, like 10, 15 years ago, with biology over a long time. Yeah, it's not, oddly, they still teach it. Gotta make that money. What is it, a Sonic Hedgehog gene and the MGTOW gene? The biologists who discovered it were big gamers. So this oddly connects to the whole gamer thing. And the gamers aren't like misogynistic assholes or losers. They're pretty smart. Okay, the Sonic Hedgehog and the MGTOW gene convey or confer parasite resistance in therapsids avians. As this evolved, the longer the feather, the more symmetrical, the more of the MGTOW gene, the more of the Sonic Hedgehog gene you have, thus the more resistance to the negative effect of parasites the bird has. Thus the higher survivability of the bird offspring. This is why the female bird found it so attractive. It had to. It noticed, hey, once upon a time there was a very small population of birds with like hair, feathers. And there were more and more birds with feathers around. And then suddenly there were only birds with feathers around. And feathers, I mean like little hairs. Imagine the hairy, little downy birds. Little cute little chicks. And the cute little chicks survived more. And then pretty much the female bird was like, hey, nothing left to select for. And so it's hey, sex is good, do it. Whoever's around, whatever. And so that led to the selection feeding in on itself, a positive feedback. And the feathers got longer. And they were symmetrical at first. But then, just because of the way DNA is, the molecular biology of it, the weight of the gene folded on itself, the weight, and thus its expression went from symmetrical to asymmetrical. This asymmetrical expression led to asymmetrical feathers. I'm not an aeronautics engineer. I'm not I don't know what the technical term is, but how a wing works is air pressure is greater beneath the wing than above it. The asymmetry of the wing causes lift. This is where the Wright brothers had it right. Now, the evolutionary advantage of being able to glide, being able to fly, being able to lift off the ground to avoid predators temporarily, started to outweigh the parasite resistance. So, birds with longer and longer feathers, more and more asymmetrical feathers, were selected for. But this does not negate the foundational preference for symmetry. It goes to the peacocks. And as this evolved over millions of years, you get birds that eventually flew. They're flying. They're flying. And then you get to the peacock. Now, the peacock, female peacocks prefer males with more eyes. Bright, pretty, shiny, like the ring, like the jaguar. And even though females prefer, I won't get into the skin color thing, we got a whole thing on race, so I'll get into that. I mean, danger. If a woman thinks, like a Black Panther woman thinks, hey, I'm afraid of him, maybe someone else will be afraid of him, protect her. But hey, Spot's kind of pretty. And since we're talking about a peacock, right? Not a bear, we're not talking about a chicken. We're not talking about a rooster. I mean, aggression, not very useful to a peacock. I mean, being pretty, very useful. It kind of goes back to the whole civilization protector-provider thing. Kinda. Factors. I hate factors. But, so, I think you can see where I'm going. So, what the peacock is displaying is not a burden thing that's been disproved. What he's displaying is he has more parasite resistance. But the reason why birds can fly is because the parasite resistance has been selected for so much that it evolved into the ability to fly. And then, yeah, once the ability to fly, and you can see this, like, predatory birds aren't so pretty. Non-predatory birds, like a peacock, are very pretty. And sorry about doing this. I was going to go on a whole thing, but I think 22 minutes listening to me address one conversation post, one comment thread is enough. Alright. Thanks guys for listening. Oh, my plug. MGTOW. Great. You probably won't get it. I think you have to live in the South in Texas. Hey man, stuff is healthy for you. It's good for you. It's great for working out. I mean, the genius of where I live is like the hippies and like the jocks get along really well. They're both very health conscious, so you can bridge both groups. MGTOW. It's great for working out. The last redhead I was banging. I don't normally do this. Just recent thing. Hot, by the way. It's a hippie. Very concerned about her food. Thought MGTOW was funny because she thought I was drinking it for chocolate milk. But then she found out how good it was. Started drinking it. Yeah, hey man. Hippies, we can get along. Hippies and social justice warrior and the jock douchebags, we can get along. Stop, eating so much. Move around. Lift some weights. Sweat a little. Have a little sex. Good times. Alright. You guys have a nice day. And always remember to go your own way. Yours truly. M.